So in this video, we're going to write an equation without a graph. So make sure you've got your notes out. If not, pause the video while you take them out and turn to where it says from a point and slope. So in this video, I want you to write an equation, and I'm just going to give you 1 point on the line, and I'm going to tell you the slope of the line to start. So our slope of this first example is going to be -2, so fill that into your notes. And we're going to have the point 4, -5. So this point is on the line. It's one of our pretty points. Now you can't see it on a graph, so you just have to know that this is your x value and then this is your y value in that point. So kind of the steps we want to follow is the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to fill in our slope into the equation. So we know the equation for a line is y equals mx plus b. And m is our slope. And since we already know our slope is -2, we can just plug that in for m. So we just replaced m with our slope of -2. We don't know what b is yet, so I just have to leave that as a b until we figure that out. So our second step, we're going to use the point I gave you. So I gave you an x and a y value. We're going to plug those in for the x and the y into our equation. So our y value in this point is -5. Okay, and then I have my -2 still, and then that's being times by x, and I know my x is 4, and I still don't know what my b is, so I'm just going to leave that as a plus b. So what we've done here is plug in what we know. We know the y, the m, and the x. So this is where we're going to bring our solving equation skills in. We're going to solve for b. So I've got an equation here, and I've only got one variable, one thing I don't know. It's an unknown. So before I do anything else, I want to simplify this -2 times 4. Okay, this means multiply here. So that's going to make -8. So I'm rewriting the equation. So instead of -5 equals -2 times 4 plus b, I've got -5 is equal to 8 plus b, -8. So to solve for b, I want to cancel out this -8, which means I would be adding 8 to both sides to figure out that b is equal to +3. So now that I've found my b, I need to rewrite my equation. The point of this process was to be able to write the equation. So that is our last step. So we're going to go back to having my y is equal to my slope, x plus, now that I know that b is 3, I can have a final equation. Okay, so I've got my m, I've got my b, I've got my equation. Good. So let's look at another one. If you feel like you can try this one on your own, feel free to pause the video and try it on your own first. So we've got 9,4 with a slope of 4. So I'm going to go through these 4 steps with you one more time, but like I said, if you feel like you can try it on your own, pause that video to do so. So first, I'm going to fill in my slope. Okay, my slope is 4, so that goes where m is. Then I'm going to fill in my x and y values. And you want to be careful you don't do this backwards. In our equation, the first number is the y, so my 4. Then I can put my x here in parentheses, which is 9. Okay, to solve this equation for b, first I need to simplify. 4 times 9 becomes 36. Since this is a +36, to cancel that out, we would subtract 36 from both sides, which tells us that my b, our y-intercept, is -32. Okay, and if you want to use a calculator for that subtraction to make sure you do your math right, that is fine. The last step, you don't want to forget this on your test, is to write the actual equation. So going back to just our m and our b. Okay, I wrote this as subtract 32. Realize you could have this plus a negative also. Good. So if you didn't try that one on your own, maybe you want to try this one on your own. This is going to have a slope of -3/4. So this one, some of you might want to use your calculator on. This is a number just like our slope was up here. We're still going to plug that in for m. So go ahead and pause to try it first. All right, so to check how you did, we're plugging this -3/4 in for m. And then we need to find b. So to find b, I'm going to take my x and y values and plug those in. So 2 is equal to -3/4 x, which is 8, plus b. So this is still multiplication here. So maybe you needed your calculator. So just to show you how I would type this in, I'm going to put my -3/4 in parentheses. So remember, this is just the division button. So I typed in -3 divided by 4. And then I need to times that by 8. So that becomes -6. Okay. If you were doing it by hand, remember that this 8 just becomes 8/1, and you go straight across. So 3 times 8 is 24, 4 times 1 is 4, and we've got that negative still on there, which simplifies. This means divide. So 24 divided by 4 is going to be 6. So same way whether you do it kind of mentally or if you use that calculator. So then I need to cancel out this -6 to find out what b equals. So I'm going to add it to both sides to find out that b is 8. So our equation is y equals -3/4 x plus 8. Okay, we're going to do a couple more examples. We've got 2 more to try. So our point is going to be -8, -1, and a slope of 1/8. Okay, so pause the video to try this first. So play to check your answer. So first step, we're going to plug in our slope. Then we're going to take our point and plug that in. So the y is -1. The x is -8. So 1/8 times -8, whether you do that by hand or with a calculator, should give you -1. So I need to cancel -1 by adding 1. Okay, and -1 plus 1, this is also 0. So our y-intercept is 0. So 2 ways you could write your equation here then. You could fill in your plus 0. I know that I don't need to write that plus 0 part. So the most simplified answer would be y equals 1/8 x. Hopefully we're getting the hang of this. We'll be practicing this probably more tomorrow. So -6, 5 with a slope of -3. Pause the video to try our last practice problem. First step, we're plugging in that slope. Then I have an x and a y value. My y value is 5. X value is -6. So negative times a negative here. Make sure you're getting a positive 18. Bring down my plus b. We've still got 5 on the other side. Solving for b, I need to take away that 18 to make that 0. So b is equal to -13. That makes our equation y is equal to -3x plus -13. Or you could have that as subtract 13. Okay, so we will build to finding the slope on your own too, so we know how to do this if I give you 2 points instead of 1 point, but that's for another lesson.